I taught school for 6 years at Mott. I taught art. I have a degree in art and in elementary education. And then we moved out to the ranch. I taught in elementary school for a few years. Now I don't do lessons anymore. Basically all my time is spent in the studio. Everything is time consuming, so I need to try to do my own thing. There's only so many hours in a day, and you have to decide what you're going to do. So I decided to go with oils on canvas. I don't do watercolors and I don't do acrylics. I just basically do oils. I usually put animals in my painting, but not necessarily all the time. Sometimes you need to switch from scenery to clouds to horses to buffalo to cattle, and every time you do, it seems like a totally new painting and a new inspiration. Well, every artist has to paint and draw and do what they know. Being in the area that I am, I enjoy the Badlands, the scenery, the animals that you're surrounded with, the horses, the cattle, and I feel I know those the best, and so those are the subject matters that I show in my artwork. And I kind of emphasized horses, equine, because the shows that I'm in, the out-of-state shows that I'm in, require you to equine subjects in order to be in the show, and so that's why I have horses that I do. Plus we have our own horses, and I've been around horses forever, so I feel I know them and know their structure, how they act, and what they do. A lot of my ideas that I get and the models that I use are from when we work cattle. Actually, both that painting and the painting over there were one of our cowboys that come and help us work cattle. It was their horse. And so they change their tack a little bit every year depending on if they ride a green horse or a horse that's well broke. And so that's where I got the ideas for those two paintings. Sometimes you're not quite sure how something looks. If you take photographs of it, you may have missed something, and when a cowboy critiques it, if that little detail isn't correct, they will see it right away. So on that piece back here, I had him actually bring his tack over, and I set it up in my studio to see that I've got everything right. And some of the people I know probably put their tack on their horses a little bit differently. You don't want to have it not fit properly, and you don't want to put the wrong tack together. If your breast collar is hanging, you shouldn't have it that way. You should have it fit snugly, and so it doesn't rub on the horse. And so there's a lot of different things that kind of go into a painting tack on a horse. I think that, to develop a skill, it usually takes a lifetime to do so. I remember being little and sitting there in the evenings and drawing and sketching little things. And when I grew up, we didn't have all the technology and video games they have now, so we had to make up our own playthings and do our own thing. And so I think that kind of stimulated your creativity a little bit, and so I just kept drawing and painting from that time. I was at a seminar, and they drew everything to detail, even shaded it in with pencil. But I don't do that because I change as I paint. And most people would not think that would be correct. And I don't use just one photograph. I use a lot of them and put a lot of them together, because sometimes if you paint the whole thing first, you need to go back and readjust so everything seems to fit together. But, we're in a location where you're not amongst the big major galleries, museums, where you can go to those and study what the old masters did. And so you have to learn probably at a different pace in a different area than you normally would with those kind of people, being, not being able to view those kind of things. We're lucky to have the Capitol Gallery explain and show art to the people out in western North Dakota and the whole state of North Dakota. And it's good to get the western people and the cattle people involved in the art world, because that's one thing that they may not stop and appreciate as much. They're used to going to cattle sales and bull sales and stockman's things, so they need to appreciate fine art too and learn the value of it. Sometimes I don't think people understand the value and the cost of art. And so I've been a lot of different places, but for some reason, one or the other, they've closed or they've moved their shows or whatever. But I like where I'm at right now, to be able to display locally in the Capitol Gallery, because it's close to home. They do a good job promoting and a good job selling. So I think we've got a good product here in North Dakota. You don't have to actually go out of state.